to say it's not for everyone. It's just understand what you're getting yourself into. I think the trailer gives you enough to know if you could think you could handle it or not. They set you up well, and you need to be set up well going into this. If you go into this blind, you're in for a shock. Yeah, may like it or not.
Welcome to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. We're talking The Long Walk in a dystopian America. Teenage boys compete in a contest where the rules are simple. Keep walking. If you stop, you're shot. If you're the last one walking, you win a better life.
The only guarantee you have as a human being is that you are going to die. And if you're lucky, you get to choose how you spend those last moments.
I keep hoping that part gets easier.
That's what I'm afraid of.
And later in the episode, we'll ask the big question.
The big question. Every episode is meant so you can interact with us and we can open the conversation to you guys. This question on the Long Walk episode is, in the movie, you know that they not only won money if they won the whole kit and caboodle, but they also got one wish. So we want to know, if you won a competition show, reality show, whatever you want to make it, a game show, whatever it is, if you won one thing and the prize was money, which we can't help you with because we're poor, and a wish, what would your wish be? That is the big question.
All right, let's get initial takes. The Long Walk. Justin Bradford.
Unnerving, uneasy, not necessarily knowing what's going to come next, not knowing when someone's going to die because all of a sudden it just comes up upon you. Creepy. I mean, there's so many words to describe it, but overall, I can't say enjoy is the right word because that's not the kind of movie you enjoy. I appreciated the work put into this movie because it is so reliant on dialogue and good dialogue and interaction with that dialogue. That's what I appreciate about it, is that these young men, in terms of their acting, yes, they are just walking, but there's so much acting prowess that had to push through to make this movie feel the way it was meant to make you feel. And that's major kudos to these young actors as well, because they pulled off something very well, because it's what listed as horror in the genre. Mm-hmm. But there's also, it's more drama than anything else with some brutal violence is really what it comes down to.
That's fair.
So it's hard to classify it as horror, but if anything, you're seeing a little bit of this, and I know we've talked about it, there's some great horror-esque movies that have come out in 2025, especially if you place this in here along with Weapons and Sinners, and there's so many that you have depth of story, and you can just collect so much from this film in general. That's what I can't stop thinking about it because of what they did in this film. And that's what a good movie's supposed to do, is make you continue to think. So I appreciate the acting that we saw in this film and great delivery of dialogue throughout.
I'll piggyback off that and just say that, and I wrote about this on the Untitled Film Project Pod.com. There's no reason this movie should be as compelling as it is. Period. It is literally people walking. Now, I thought going in that there would be like flashback scenes and, oh, let's learn about this character with a 7-minute thing about how he was at college and decided to, like, that's what I thought it was going to be.
Nope.
No, it is people walking, and that is about it. And so the fact, and Bradford's right, the fact that it is so riveting and the dialogue is so great and real things happen, so they're relatable, right? So if you're walking for a long time, you start questioning, can you sleep while walking? Is that a thing you can do? Mm-hmm. Like all these things, right? The delirium sets in, nature sets in. Yeah. All these things happen, and they're all addressed. Wow, The Long Walk.
How about we go try?
Well, I did walk 2.5 miles today. So
whoa.
This movie has so many things that you can dig into, and I love that you mentioned the dialogue because it's what propels the movie.
Yeah.
Besides their legs, it's conversation. It's like they have to keep you entertained because otherwise, you're basically the landscape changes, but you've got one road. Yeah. So I think there was so many great things for you to kind of latch onto, relate to, and again, enjoy is not the greatest word, but to really sink your teeth into in this movie. As far as the violence, I think it went over my threshold.
Oh,
It went over my threshold. It was too much of an unflinching gore. And we didn't need to see everything that close, that gross, because it seemed a little more realistic, right?
So it hit.
Yeah. So
but I think doesn't that prove that it did its job though?
I understand they had to go very far to make this movie, to make you believe all the motivations and all the fears. Yes, they had to make it brutal. It's just a little more than I was comfortable.
I mean,
Interesting.
think if Hunger Games got really brutal.
Right.
Like you think about it that way, like there's brutality in it,
Yeah.
but it's a PG-13.
Yes.
Here obviously are, which also there was a child in this screening.
That's
Um,
that person's problem.
yeah, but it's one of those things like that's what I was thinking. Not that I'm relating this to Hunger Games whatsoever, but there's
But there's a good reason to
there's
do
a good
that.
reason to do that. But you see people die, you see children die in Hunger Games, right? But just like this is taking that a step further to create I don't want maybe to scare the audience of like in dystopia, this is what could happen if you let things get so bad.
Right.
This is what could happen, and it's accepted, and not just accepted, but cheered on
Right.
as well too. So,
And normalized.
and very normalized.
Good word.
Yeah.
So I think that brutality is trying to prove that point, and it's going to push people over that. It's going to be too much for a lot of people
Yeah.
that aren't necessarily expecting that. I think, however, the trailer hopefully sets it up enough to be like, you should probably expect this to be pretty brutal.
Yeah, you don't want to be ambushed by this movie. In fact, I will say this: as I was watching the movie, I said, "Okay, how would I test whether somebody would want to see it or could be able to withstand the brutalism?" And if you were a viewer of The Walking Dead, there is pretty much an episode that a huge amount of the fan base stopped watching. Now, yes, it was because a major character was killed, Glenn. Spoiler alert. But the brutality of a scene in which somebody's, being murdered, absolutely was a deal breaker for people. So if that was a deal breaker for you, you're probably not going to be able to enjoy. We're going to find a word. The Long Walk.
Appreciate, I think, is probably the word.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, appreciate.
Handle even.
Yeah, that's true. The last thing I'll say about my initial take is that we all know that I like interesting ways to kill people. Okay.
Oh, geez.
These are not interesting.
No.
These are guns to heads of children. Okay, basically, right? Like,
Yep.
And we would say children like 8, but children. Although one is, I guess, underage. But anyway, I appreciated the gruesomeness of it because, again, the overarching goal when I see a movie of any kind is show me something new that I'm not expecting. And they did that multiple times, especially that first kill.
Mm-hmm.
Was unbelievably brutal. And I remember being like, all right. And then
So you're basically like, we're in for a long walk.
Yeah.
yes, that,
Yeah.
wow. Yes, that's what I was going to, get out. Get out.
All right, let's go a little deeper into The Long Walk. I'm going to tell you something that I didn't like at all, that I almost hated in this movie.
Wow.
Mark Hamill.
What?
Mark Hamill's performance.
Oh, I thought he was awesome.
Okay, now for me, it was so overacted, where every line he spoke, I felt like he's really acting. That he stuck out. It was one of the few performances that, not that he did a bad job. That's what they hired him for. I don't know if I would have cast him.
Oh my God, I thought he was awesome.
Yeah, I think that character had to be a little over the top as well, too.
He had to be your stereotypical
Oh, I think
60s,
so.
70s drill sergeant.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket.
That's
type
exactly.
guy.
Full Metal Jacket is exactly what I was
In
thinking.
control. In
Yes.
power.
But it's to me, he didn't have it. He was trying to be that.
Oh, I didn't-
so it wasn't there.
Here's why I disagree is because I didn't know that character was Mark Hamill until I saw promos on TikTok about this movie, and he was interviewing with the young men
Oh yeah.
because he never takes off his sunglasses,
Right.
Never takes off the hat, because he's such a good voice actor. and can distort his voice in different ways. And he's done that his entire career. When you think about it, I had no clue it was him until I knew it was him. Like in the movie, even I'm not seeing Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a good thing because he's playing that character of the Major so well.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be subjective.
Totally.
If you see, Mark Hamill as an actor in the movie, like I did, trying to act, or you bought in and he became that character. So for me, I wasn't there.
I'll flip that on its that coin around. Okay. How awesome was Judy Greer? I did not expect her to be in that movie.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Opening scene is so emotional. She's phenomenal and great. And I was just like, wow, what a powerhouse. That deserves to be the lead in more films, by the way.
Yeah.
She's not a lead in this, but I'm just saying, like,
it's a small part.
Yes.
But she made an impression.
Oh. She maybe has 5 minutes total of screen time.
Yes.
The flashbacks.
Yes.
And that's about it.
She probably recorded it all in a couple days.
She made the most of it.
But wow, she left an impression.
It was impressive.
And so all around, let's go to the casting, because obviously this is the type of film where you have to have multiple really good actors. You can't just have one strong lead. You obviously have 2 good leads.
It's very important that I didn't recognize any of these kids.
Yes.
I
agree.
Very happy.
There's only one.
Relatively fresh faces.
Right. Ben Wang is the only one I recognize because
course.
American
Karate Kid.
as well too. But still relatively unknown overall. He's not a household name, maybe a household face more because you recognize from TV or trailers, things like that.
Yeah.
But yes, it was very important to not have recognizable ones because you're not typecasting anybody.
That's right.
These are all new because you're able to relate even more of
You don't need Sydney Sweeney out there walking.
Right.
You
don't want anybody with any baggage, whether it's self-inflicted or not.
Yes.
Just be.
And then after the fact, I see that, that's Cooper Hoffman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the chops in his blood.
And then it starts to click. Yeah, you're going, okay. There's something there.
And then you start seeing some of the other actors and some of the other things they've done as well too. You're going, oh, okay, like these are good up and comers. We are going to see all of these guys.
Yes.
And a lot more projects coming forward.
For
So
sure.
I fully agree there that I'm glad I did not recognize, because it makes me just connect to the movie more, because I'm not thinking of, well, they're better in that, or they're better in that, or what are they doing here? 100% agree. But I feel like
a different role for
right. But I fully love the casting of this as well too, and seeing, especially you're thinking dystopian America, so too, because we still don't understand everything that has gone on to lead to this moment. We don't. They just refer to it, right?
It's an alternate
It's a
universe.
war, right?
Complete alternate
after the
universe.
war, this happened.
Yes, we still don't even know necessarily what war it was, what led to that war.
That's right.
It's hard to even base it on technology that we see.
Yep, it's all over the
usually
place.
that's what you're doing is based on technology, but no, there's still like antenna TV.
It's cars from the
and
50s.
cars.
There's digital pedometers that have like perfect precision.
Yes.
Some military vehicles look more like they could be from the 90s or 2000s potentially too. Like, it's difficult, but that's what I like about
Intentionally
dystopian stuff.
vague.
Yes, intentionally vague, and all that plays together so well to make you just kind of go away from the norm and be like, I'm in a dystopian world, but oh crap, if this happens, this would be brutal.
Yeah, it's relatable
enough
to where you're like, this could actually happen in the next 10 years.
Right.
In real life.
If a bunch of things went sideways, this is going there.
Without it being science fiction, because typically this is what you'd see in the science fiction genre.
That's right.
This is not science fiction whatsoever.
It's just an
but it's kind of the base what you would see in it.
Here's what I took it as. I took it as World War II went bad. This is what happened. And that's kind of where they're stuck. That's how I took it. I could be way off because, again, the watches, that maybe that's not, but that's how I was watching it in the time. Was this is my dad could be marching in this walk in the 60s or 70s, just because of how it was all portrayed. I don't know if that's way off or not. I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments, of course, listening, but that's how I took it. World War II did not go as well as history says it did, and this is what we're ending up with.
Now, completely jumping, I did not expect like the preamble to the movie to be that long before
that was awesome.
Like that was like, whoa.
Yeah, when the title came up.
The title came up after everything they had gone through, and it was just that reset moment of, oh,
and walk.
So let me ask you this then real quick. Jim, and I'll ask you actually directly. Did that remind you were watching a movie? In other words, did it take you out of it, or was it an amplifier like it was for me?
It was a punctuation mark.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Because there's a danger doing that. If I'm so lost in this intense movie, and then all of a sudden they're like, title screen. It's like, oh, okay.
It's
be
different
bad.
if it's Walking Tall with The Rock.
No, well, sure. That's
I'm going to tell you something. This is going to be funny because you're going to go, whoa, are these two things? After seeing The Long Walk and being shaken by it, I watched the sing-along version of K-pop Demon Hunters and realized, I realized the movie goes for about 5-10 minutes. Title card, just like The Long Walk. Ooh, K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm like, these should not be the same in these movies. But it was funny.
Yeah, the titling, when the title came up, is like, shit's gotten real.
Yeah.
That's real. Like when you say period, that's
Yep.
immediate was I could hear the breath in the audience, or you all of a sudden got real silent, even though it already was, but you could just feel the energy of the stop of oh boy, we are in for it.
Powerful.
Yeah.
which I think, again, is a feather in this movie's cap.
Credit to The Long Walk for pretty much, we know early on in this movie who's going to be the last two. You know, and it does go exactly where you go, but it was okay. I was enjoying them getting to that point. It wasn't hinging on the fact that, like, on a mystery, who's going to survive. We kind of know who's going to be there in the end. But I think that they made such a concerted effort to have a camaraderie between these characters. They're like a regiment and a platoon in a war. They just accept, a lot of us are going to die. Let's get to know each other, make the best of it. It was just, to me, that was the make or break of this movie. If you know they're all going to die, most of them, why are you watching it? Because they're so compelling. And I was reminded of other Stephen King work, like Stand By Me and other things where he was able to have friends become something bigger than the individual characters.
And it goes into the human experience as well, too. When you're put in predicaments, especially when there's only one survivor, what decisions do you make? And you kind of see the exploration with mental health and everything as they're going through this entire journey of how are you going to be as a human with your fellow humans when you're going through this? Whether it's you're trying to make sure they're staying and walking. Yes, you have to take a poo, but are you going to support them? Like, come on, it's time to go. We got to go. Or are you just going to let it happen? And how you're choosing that with your new friends, based on how they're reacting, their emotions, their mental state as well, too, with Barkovich, right? And so you could tell, not in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
Decision-making is poor because not in the right place. And at the end...
it's a tell of their character.
Yeah, and
of their integrity.
The end, they accept that and realize, he is not in the right mental state for this. And it's not a forgiveness necessarily. It's an understanding of where he's coming from as he's dealing with all this. Right off the bat, Barkovich is off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know that. But we see the understanding come through with Garrity because of that. And they just let things happen. And that's what I want to say again, enjoy is not the right word. Appreciated the human interaction pieces with this, of how they befriended each other. Even guys they didn't like, in terms of how they realized they were a brotherhood of sorts, and how they're going to at least get each other through the things they could help each other with that were within control. And that is just a unique experience when you look at people and the decisions they're going to make. We've seen how many movies that do that, right? Or how many TV shows that explore these types of situations. We even see it in reality TV. That's fake. But we see this type of exploration here. This is a true human exploration piece, and it is curious to see how people react given the situation.
I found myself wondering what I would do
Exactly.
in similar situations, right?
I don't think you couldn't watch this movie and not have that thought.
Right. And clearly, obviously, we don't have somebody with a gun next to us, right? That's going to make it real. And what would you really do? We're just in the theater. I'm still considering, what would I do? He could have come up from behind him and taken out stomped on his shin or something like that. That's going to take you out immediately. Now he wins. That would have been a strategy, right? In these reality shows like this, competitions, right? There's unions and these little alliances until they can't be, or someone's playing it the whole time. Like, I'm really going to pretend like I'm your friend, but I'm not really your friend.
Right.
And then I'm going to take you out because I can win. Yeah. So where does your competitiveness lie? At what point do you turn that off? When there's 4 people left, when there's 10, when there's 20, when there's 2, when do you do it? And I was asking myself all of these questions while watching it. And I thought, if you as a scriptwriter and a filmmaker can pull that out of the audience where you're projecting yourself onto this fake thing,
You've won.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so great. The emotional and psychological buy-in of this movie is off the charts for me.
All right, let's go to final scores for The Long Walk. While this movie is very similar to, The Hunger Games and Squid Game, these are compelling formulas. It was also written in 1989 or something like that. So give it credit where it was due. It came before a lot of the things that you'd reference in this movie. So Stephen King, he's pretty good. He does ask the brutal questions. And while I didn't like living in those brief moments of how they showed the violence, I understand they had to do that. I just don't know if I want to live there often in a movie. That's a me thing instead of what they needed to do for this movie. I really love the script. I loved the director of photography for this movie. Kudos. You don't have a lot to work with. And there were shots where I'm going, wow, if this wasn't a gruesome scene, I would like that framed. So there's so many good things and so many moral quandaries to talk about. I think that's what makes a great movie. I'm going to give it an 8.
This movie just continues to have me thinking. And that just means they've accomplished so much. And just to go off of Jim's point as well with the director of photography, lighting, fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at dusk moments, dawn moments, things at night as well. It was very well lit. And even at night, it wasn't dark. You could see things still. They lit the movie well. And even in rain sequences, things like that. And major props to the Ahead teams in terms of discovering locations. Because again, there was beauty in the brutalness of things were happening based on the locations of you're seeing a different kind of America here as well. There's nobody else driving on the streets here. You could see where people were. You could see dead animals. You could see old vehicles or vehicles on fire, things like that. But the way they set this up as being a very dystopian, different, not dystopian to where things have gone awry, like you see in so many dystopian movies, right? Where things are just all junk. But here's an America that just stopped.
Yeah, it stopped.
It just stopped in its tracks. And that, they basically say that with the economy and everything, right? But the cast, Cooper Hoffman, David Janssen, Tut Nyot, Ben Wang, and so many, they played their roles so well because of a great script, great adaptation. Just like Jim said, Stephen King is so good at giving great source material for movies, right? He's just so good at that, even when it's decades old source material. The movie's going to make you think. When I say it's not for everyone, it's just understand what you're getting yourself into. I think the trailer gives you enough to know if you could handle it or not. They set you up well, and you need to be set up well going into this. If you go into this blind, you're in for a shock. Yeah. You may like it or not, but just incredible acting. And I think we're going to see this movie, not necessarily as a launching pad, because many of them already have plenty of credits, but you can refer back to this film as the one that put a lot of these young men on the map of they are good actors. They can handle a good heavy dialogue and deliver, because there's not many movies that are so dialogue heavy that are also that intriguing to you as well. This accomplishes so many things. It's an 8.5 for me.
Great performances, great script, great directing, great cinematography, great story, and overall super intense. Just so compelling and intense. And again, it shouldn't be. This is about people walking. That's it. So the fact that they were able to dial me in so hard for an hour 40 or whatever, hour 45, whatever it was, it's incredible. This is the, I'll be careful to say this, and we got a lot of ramp left, but I think it's the second best movie of the year so far for me.
Wow.
It's just what they were able to accomplish with the minimalist idea, really. It's hey, let's get 50 guys and have them walk down a road and there's no finish line. What can we do with that? I'm Stephen King back in the day is what I'm saying, right? That's the idea. Okay. Can you imagine going to the boardroom and looking for millions of dollars to fund your project and going, there's going to be 50 guys walking along a road. And they're like, that's it? Like, that's it.
Like, let me set the scene.
Yeah, sold. I mean, like, that doesn't, I'm sure there was a lot of trepidation there. So just taking all that into account, I mean, I'm going 8.5 as well. It's right up there with Bob Trevino Likes It and Sinners for me. It's so awesome because of what they were able to do, and the performances that were on screen.
Time on the Untitled Film Project Podcast for the big question.
In the long walk, if you win the long walk, right, every year, the winner gets a big cash prize, gets to live, of course, and then they also get one wish. Well, you obviously get to live. You're listening to this show, and we can't give you any money, so that leaves us with another thing. What would be your one wish if you want to make that because you run a game show or because you run a reality show or whatever the case is? If somebody were to say, realistically now, what is your one wish? Like, you can't bring it back.
So now you threw realistically in there.
Because you can't bring grandma back from the dead, is what I'm saying.
but
So are you the genie?
I was just going to say genie. Is this a genie wish?
It's
a realistic wish.
because a genie could probably bring grandma back from the dead if he really wanted to. Probably.
No. How about that?
It wouldn't be pretty, but you can probably do it. So,
Well, if they're a god. But anyway.
Exactly. So, what would you do for your one wish? What would you have? Let's start with Bradford.
Oh, me.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to try to do this without getting in trouble with anybody here.
Oh, it's probably smart.
No, my wish, because especially if we're in dystopian times, but even not dystopian times, is that no child under the age of 18 would go hungry.
Okay.
Every child would have free food available to them in the world, no matter what, because that solves so many issues. And that's what I liken it to, because I was thinking, like, whether it's education or healthcare, things like that. But as long as they can get to adulthood, hopefully that drives them into so many ways, because the start of so many problems we see is due to hunger. Like, that could be lack of education, lack of healthcare, lack of health in general, lack of being able to carry a job, lack of being able to live, comes down to if you are fed or not properly. And so the way that governments could invest in that is that every child would make sure that they're receiving food, no matter what, under their age of 18, until they're 18, they free food, period.
Okay.
Go over.
Okay. Well, mine's similar, but it's not as...
Mine maybe as well.
It's not as lofty, which I kind of feel bad about now.
It's not lofty.
Probably should have went first.
They could solve this pretty quick.
I would bring back Crystal Pepsi.
Right, yeah.
Yours is lofty?
No, yours is like... I'm saying, I was going to say the internet should be free to everybody.
Okay.
Because it's an educational tool to say, it's a way to, it's a way to marginalize certain demographics and whatever the case is. The internet should be free, I think, for everybody. And so if that's the case, then that leads to education, it leads to opportunity.
Absolutely does.
It also leads to bad choices, for sure, potential bad choices, but at the same time, you are given the ownership to do it. Now it's up to you to say, okay, are you going to use this for good or whatever the case is? So not quite as lofty as feeding everybody, but that's
all children.
It was the
all
idea.
Children.
It was the idea.
But if anything, access leads to education, and that's what it is.
Which is where I was going.
Access to information is important, so you don't have the dystopian America or country period that you see in The Long Walk. That's what can help lead
You're
to
giving people the foundation to succeed in life.
Yes, you can't hold their hand through it, but you can definitely give them the tools to do it. Obviously, free internet would be that tool.
Yeah.
Jimmy.
If I won the long walk and could have one wish, I would like everybody to experience the world in somebody else's shoes. So if it's a trading places thing with every person that they have to live like somebody different from themselves, I would have that happen, because I think a whole lot of problems would go away if we could do that.
Good morning, my neighbors.
So what do you think? What would your one wish be? Let us know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube or on social medias above. I'm at It's Gover Time.
Jim Chandler now.
Justin B. Bradford.
And of course, you can always reach us at UntitledFilmProjectPod.com.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. To support the show, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe. Original music by Jeremy Schwartz. Special thanks to the Music City Film Critics Association. Editing and post-production by Jeremy K. Gover. Voiceover by Chad Bennett.